thank you very much for joining me today. Today's reading is going to be why do people fall in love with you? And there are just certain people that just have that certain something and it hits you straight in the face, and there are others where you just realise it later on. It's very subtle. We're all different. There'll be lots of different ways. So let's have a look. You've got 3 choices for no particular reason, just the pictures. That's the 10 of Cups for the first one. Temperance for card 2. And the Magician for card 3. So if you want to take your choice, and we'll get stuck in. Okay, let's have a look. Why do people fall in love with you? Okay, initially I think that on first impression, you're quite reserved, possibly, that you may be one of those sort of cool and collected people that don't say a lot initially, or people tend to feel that you're not giving the whole of yourself, so there may be some intrigue there, some sort of mystical quality. I often think of Scorpio with this type of attention, where they don't always reply to every question. I've noticed that lots of Scorpios tend to just leave things unsaid, or just a Capricorn. I noticed that with a lot as well, where people just don't give everything away. They don't wear their hearts on their sleeve totally, and it can appear very attractive to some people, depends who you're asking. Sagittarius would probably cry if they were Sagittarius all the way through, but it's just an aura of control, I suppose. Like there's control and intrigue to other people. Let's have a look at number 2. You also come across as if you don't need anybody. To have this in the second pile, which is more a pile of like your self-value and your self-worth, to have the 9 of Pentacles there makes me think that you look inwards to know who you are. You don't really care. Everybody does slightly, because we're human. You don't really care too much about other people's thoughts and opinions. So at the moment, I've got what I guess is a very altogether cool package. I think that people generally see you as not needy, as in busy with yourself, but not frantically busy. There's a bit of what I guess is an ice cold fox about you. Ice cold fox. Let's have a look at the next one. Oh my gosh. You are an ice cold fox. You have got the 4 of Swords here for the way that you communicate. And with the feeling that we've got already, and I was talking about Scorpio, to me, I think that you're one of those people that say it straight. You've got a feeling here that you don't go, there's different ways of saying it straight. And I can think of what I guess is a personality type, and perhaps like the most outward, what's the words? The sign that is more likely to tell you what they're thinking, even if it is slightly unwelcome, is Sagittarius. Very directed, very, very outspoken. They don't try, their mind doesn't have time, a little bit like Aquarius in some ways, but Aquarius is more controlled with regards to giving away what their thoughts. But Sagittarius will just say exactly what they're thinking without vetting it first in their own mind. It's like it's best to say what's on your mind initially, especially when they're younger. When they get older, maybe I don't know. It may be they may run it through their mind a little bit more before it comes out of their mouth. But with the Scorpio here, because you've got the 4 of Swords here, and this is your communication, to me, Scorpios that can be very raw with bless my soul, with the way that they communicate. They know how to be direct, but they very much are in control of it here. And the 4 of Swords suggests that you can cut to the quick if needed. And I think people pick that up from you. So I can't speak. There's a different type of feeling, not in this spread, but when I'm thinking of this type of way to communicate, it can just be very, again, there's lots of different types of energy, very earthy, where there's not that need to shoot energy out as much. But if you ask them, they will say it as it is. So there's different ways of communicating in here. Scorpio can be very sort of smooth and controlled and says what they think is going to have an impact if they feel like that. Sagittarius just shoots out, and this is if you're Sagittarius all the way through, will shoot out, best to say the truth, it's best to hurt, and then we can, we all know where we sit. And Aries will be, yeah, I agree with that, that's great. And others be like, that's painful. And then you've got Scorpio there that likes it raw, as I've just said. But you've got also a feeling here that this could also be Earth because of this here. And that will be an element of, I will tell you the truth because it is the truth, not because it's blurting out to me. Sorry, that's a long sort of explanation. It's because I'm trying to organise it in my own head how you come across. And earthy people will adore this type of quality. It's measured but truthful. It fascinates me. I was sat with a lady on a couch the other day, probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, if not more. And she is very earthy, very thinking orientated, if you know what I mean. She's very scientific type person. I don't know how to translate that. And she was talking about something that had happened in her life that was quite harsh, where somebody had deceived her. And she just said in a very sort of, it wasn't like anger, it was like, I don't understand why people lie. And this is this energy here. She's a Virgo lady. So I don't understand why people lie. And I thought, interesting. And you have the energy that, and if somebody asks you, you would just say the truth because that's it. That's who you are. That's what you're doing, and that is the situation. And people can be as equally shocked, possibly, as a Sagittarian. And Sagittarius, I'm not calling you out because Donald Trump, for instance, he's so Sagittarius, isn't he? And I don't know anything about politics, but he plays his part, and politics needs. I don't know. Do not have political views, and I know that it can go either way. But there is an element there which is quite unusual to politicians of saying the truth that he does. That's all I know. Okay, so you have. This is very subtle. I think that people fall for you because you are so subtle. There's a need here to connect, to have the 4th house, which is what they are in my head, to have the Lovers card here. It's almost like having Venus in the 4th house or Libra in the 4th house, or I know it's Gemini, but it's that need to connect. So there's a strong need to have somebody beside you, but that person in some way has to quietly sidle up and be alongside you in a way that they can act with dignity, is what I would think here. And I always think the earth signs have an amazing amount of dignity. And I always, oh my gosh, who's that lady that sang Jolene, Jolene? Dolly Parton. Sorry about that. Watching her being interviewed, I know she's got Sagittarius in there too. So again, there is that combination where she's saying the truth in such a way. She's like, oh my God, what a lady. Just something magnificent in her that is very centered and very truthful and very direct, and it is beautiful energy. Beautiful. Anyway, let's have a look at this. Oh my lordy. When it comes to, I have no idea what that could mean, but it's intriguing me. When it comes to the 5th house, which would be the house of like love affairs and attraction and playing with love, and it's a very Leo house where there's a lot of like showing off and peacocking, I love that word, and strutting around. You've got the Death card there. So to be honest, what I'm thinking with the energy you've got so far and why people fall for you, you've got what I guess is a very dignified aura. People can trust you. It's like the salt of the earth pile here. You've got a need to attach that people can sense, and there's that, as if they gravitate towards you. There's a kindness, is what I would say there, that comes out when you're attracted to somebody. I mean, maybe they're all the time, but there's a kindness that allows people to, I'm going to say, sit next to you, because it doesn't feel like there's lots of like poking and jibing and laughing and being flirty, but there's almost like it's very it fascinates me. It's very earthy. It's very much like, come here. We could be lovers, but you don't say it. The Death card. Oh, my Lord. I'm going to say this as it is, because it doesn't really go with the rest of the pile. But it's, you know, none of us do go with the... I don't mean this in these piles that I'm doing here, but you can't wrap us into packages. I don't think you can wrap anybody into a package, and I spend my whole life trying to do it, trying to understand people. And with this card here, it's almost like when it comes to love affairs, something breaks in you. And I don't know whether that means that you are open to a little bit of lots of different thoughts here. Whatever I say is going to sound wrong. Whether you're open to different sexual practices with this sort of skidding sideways and the Death card being complete change from the former cards here. Whether you are open to... I'm not judging on this because I don't really have a judgment. I don't think I do. To affairs and that type of thing, or whether you are in one. Just thinking, that is just a thinking. It's just because it's got the Death card, which is complete change with what can be often seen as an underhand card. It's like stepping sideways, doing something unexpected, and that is quite consistent because it's easier for me to read. Then you get that kind of thing. Well, my lord. I do know somebody who has this type of energy. I was talking about it on Patreon in a Saturn reading, where it was Saturn conjunct different planets, and I was saying Saturn conjunct the Sun and Mars is often easier because it's outward orientated, so you can tend to be more structured with regards to getting your karma met or your desires met, whichever way you go. You know, you just organise, you go out, you work, you do it, you get up and you get what you want out of life. But conjunct the softer planets like the Sun and the Moon is harder, and I find the hardest is Venus conjunct Saturn, because I've seen that in people who oftentimes put themselves into difficult situations because they feel unworthy. Saturn is difficult to have next to a soft feminine planet, and they feel unworthy inside themselves, unlovable. So they put themselves into situations with friends or in relationships where they get that unworthiness thrown back at them, as in, yeah, we can see that you're unworthy. And then they're like, okay, that feels fine because now I know who I am. They make the situation. I don't know if that's so, but these are thoughts. I don't know. It's almost like you do something in love relationships that is not your normal nature. It doesn't have to be negative. You could just, because this is quite centered, become just lose your head a little bit, possibly. Complete change. Lose your head and lose your morals. Anyway, our morals are our own, aren't they? Yeah, that type of thing. I don't really know. Let me keep going. I feel as well with the 6th card here, being the High Priestess, that there's something quite as witchy about you, which is a straightforward way of saying it, that your everyday routine is very intuitive. So you may have some, as I said, some sort of practice where you read tarot and it's got a routine to it. You do it the same time every day, or you meditate every morning, or there's some way you look inside yourself. There's some way you understand others' motives and intentions and their energy, and it's part of a process possibly you've been building up for a long time. It's like built upon, where you understand energy in some way. It's like, because of these almost like woohoo piles being the 5th and the 7th house, your general nature is, I often think of accountants like this. I don't know if accountants, these are more like observations I've had rather than saying this is for every accountant. But I remember, no stories today. But just, there are some people who, to me, just seem very sort of straightforward. And often you see them in jobs that I can't even think of doing, like counting, like working with like maths and finance and money and, you know, that type of thing. And they seem very straight-laced, but they're the ones that let loose the most. Business as well in college. I can remember the business people sometimes being similar. That when they're relaxed, you know, they just almost change there's a huge difference between the everyday self and the drunken self, or the everyday self, or they could be possibly a little bit sort of the 8 of Wands, more come across as being very straight-laced but be more sexually experimental. So that may be you too. So what we've got so far is quite a quiet, edgy character. And I think people possibly sense some form of intrigue and confidence from you that can often feel a little bit like what's the witch out of Game of Thrones? The Red Witch, something like that. There's always something that they can sense. Two of Pentacles. Maybe you do work with money. Other people's money. The Two of Pentacles there. You play around with it. You go on Layer Cake that there was a guy in Layer Cake who was in a great film, who was an accountant, and he he took all the drug money, and then when Daniel Craig went to collect it towards the end of the film, the whole office had disappeared. He'd just taken all the money. Is that you? Because this is like options and changes. The Two of Pentacles in the 8th house. I don't know. I would probably put these two together, because the 8th house is a bit like the house of the occult and things that are hidden, and that's playing with it. And you've got the High Priestess here. As I said, it may be, you may not even be aware of this, but you could be just one of those people very pointed with regards to, because of this energy here, with regards to how you get what you want out of life. So in some way, you're just some magical manifester. You may not even know that. And things shift around you, possibly. And how people will sense that is in directed confidence. Not easily shaken by other people. This hasn't got a giddy feeling. This card can often be interpreted as giddy, but in the 7th house, to me, I'm linking that with the 5th house, because there's difference here. To me, I'm linking that towards sexuality, or how you express your sexuality, or how you let go in your hobbies and your spare times is a little bit wild than the rest of what I guess how you appear to others. Sorry, that was clumsy. Let's have a look at this one. Again, it's the same feeling. This has got a there's an element here. I think people are attracted to you because you've got an element of quietly, people sense that you push boundaries. You don't say things. And there's something in that which is almost like powerful, as a scorpionic feeling as well, as I said earlier, where you're not afraid to very quietly do something naughty. I can't explain it. I know a few people that have this energy, so I'll explain them and then you'll probably translate what I'm trying to think. There's two people, we were talking about these two people. One is a Pisces man, very open, very direct, very straightforward, but he's the type of man that if you're in a fight, he would be there without, as in, and I know this has happened in pubs where he has basically fought for somebody else until he's basically pummeled. Very, very strong morals, wild, absolutely wild, which is this feeling here, but very strong morals. Doesn't talk about things or discuss, his thoughts or his opinions. He just basically acts if he has to. And there's another man both of these men who I know who is had a breakdown when he was young, also became very religious for a bit, and he's such a Taurus, I think. I don't really know. I don't know well enough to ask his chart, really. I think that's what he is. And then there's something quiet overlaying it as well, which could be earthy. I know, well, I'm not going to give any more detail just in case he knows him. But again, he's got the same energy. It's almost like, and he talks about these things that he does that are just a little bit wild. I won't tell you details, but it's like somebody's on his property and he's a type of person that puts like a bear, he didn't do this, but like a bear trap. It's that type of thing. So there's an element here of you talking to them and you know they're solid, and this is how people will see you. But there's an element of, if pushed, you would overstep what everybody else would think is a normal boundary. So there's an element of danger about you, which may sound far-fetched. It's got a dangerous quality, which I think people interpret as quite sexual. And it possibly is with these cards here. But I think that most people that meet you think that you're quiet and well contained and maintained. Yeah, you're not afraid. You're not afraid of life. You're not afraid of changing who you are and changing the situation. You've got an edge of devil may care about you, but there's an edge of, I'm going to say darkness, but it's intrigue. I don't mean darkness like, it may be black magic, but I don't know. It's like, nobody quite understands it. So I'm going to start summing this up. Why do people fall in love with you? Because you appear subtly confident. You've got an edge about you that keeps people guessing. There's a feeling here that is interpreted in many people's minds as being very, very sexual. Like you don't talk about things a lot. You're not that open with regards to who you're attracted to. Or to me, this is like very subtly wearing clothes that are sexy, but they're not, if you know what I mean. It's like people have to keep guessing. It's like seeing something that you shouldn't see, but it was meant to be covered up. I don't even know what I mean by that. I think people are scared of you. I think people are scared of you because they can't figure you out. I think conventional people would not be able to work you out at all. And I think there'll be an element of fear in that. Like you're up to no good, and let's just say you've got somebody very conventional, they would possibly, if they couldn't control themselves, they could almost ham up, that man, that woman, they're just not up to anything good. I don't trust them, is what they would say, which has an element of Scorpio about it, as in people don't really know what you're going to do next. I feel that you don't care much about that. I feel that you'd rather be, this has got like a tattoo pile feeling in it. This has got a rough and ready feeling in it. I like the feeling, but I don't think I'd be able to work you out. I think if I'd be there, trying my very best, which I do with everybody, naturally, intrigue, I feel that you wouldn't give me anything. I know a woman like this. I know where she works. She wouldn't go to school. And I know where she works. And I listen to her in work. And people ask her questions. And sometimes she just doesn't answer them, which I said initially at the beginning. And but she's incredibly supportive for all the other women around her. If they need help, then she comes forward. And she's very straight with it. I just feel that she's got something about her that's got an extra kick to it. Like cornered in an alleyway, she would probably fight to the death, but she doesn't give a lot away. There's the Fool card here has a feeling, if this is the top of your chart and you've got perhaps Uranus with the Fool card there, it has got I can shock anybody and I will change if I need to very quickly and I won't ask for anybody's approval. So this is a very, very strong pile. So a few sentences here before I go. Why do people find that energy? Why do they find you attractive? It's because they can't work it out, because there's an element here of you emanate power because you don't need to explain yourself. You emanate power as well because you can walk away from situations that you feel aren't good for you. You don't have to explain yourself to everybody all the time. And it puts people on the back foot a little bit. They don't get the comfort from you that they do from people who put themselves down in front of people, lay themselves a little bit lower and over-explain things. And it's got a very potent energy that has a slight tinge of darkness that's intriguing, very sexy. It's a bit of a Lilith pile here. So if you don't check Lilith out in your chart to see if it's strong. The women I know who have strong Lilith are fighters, really. I'm going to put it like that. Fighters, they are fighters. Yeah, okay, I'm going to leave you there. Oh, mysterious, sexy one. I hope that felt right. If not, because it's so strong, it wouldn't have been you. It probably would be better to check out another pile, but that is always interesting what turns up, I suppose. Right, thank you very much, and I'll see you again. Bye. Okay, pile number 2. Let me just get these straight for you. I haven't explained that this is on my phone. I think the quality's all right. I haven't even got a mic, but I think I've listened to it yesterday and it seemed okay, so I'll keep speaking a bit louder. Why do people fall in love with you? You've got the Page of Swords for the first house, and that's the energy that you kick out when, my God, stay still. Kick out when people first see you. And so I think the Page of Swords is... It's almost like I always think there's an innocence in the pages. I always think it's downsized. It's like you don't deliver everything. It may be quietness with the swords cards there because it'd be communication. I feel that you communicate enough. I feel that you probably look a lot younger than your years. And I feel that you don't give everything away, but you give away the impression that being a swords energy and just a smidgen of it, that I can talk to you if I fancy it, and we could get on if we decide that's what we want to do. It's that you don't give loads away. There's an element of possibly watching quite a lot, trying to understand the situation, the page giving me an image of innocence, weighing up the situation till you think it's ready to, I'm going to say strike there, but ready to move forward. So initial impressions are people may want to know more, want to know why you're not talking too much to begin with. You may have to be sort of like a snail, coached out a little bit. Doesn't speak of shyness. It speaks of you don't talk until you feel like you've got something to say. Okay, let's have a look to see where this may be coming from. The Two of Wands, again. To me, this feels, again, a little bit, and why would people fall in love with this? The Two of Wands has got, because the second house is what it means to me. It's more like your values and how your sense of confidence in yourself. So to have the Two of Wands there makes me think that it's open, it's up for grabs. You feel confident in some situations and not in others. You feel as if you can express yourself easily with some people, but not others. So I feel that when you enter new situations or meet new people, that you allow them to show themselves first. At the moment, there's not a lot of clues in here with regards to why people will find that attractive, apart from the fact that it makes sense to some people and not others, possibly. As I've said in pile number 1, fire people like, not all fire people, but different people, like people, some people that just initially are exactly what they are. I've seen a lot of men and women with Jupiter conjunct Venus, Jupiter conjunct the moon, or a Sagittarius bend in those planets. I am back. My camera just clicked off, basically. It's just locked full of crud. Locked full of crud in there. I think I was just saying about Jupiter energy with people on their moon or their sun, male or female, tend to like people who are very direct. And I feel that you weigh the situation up at the beginning. So I'm not going to comment on why people find that attractive yet, because I need to see the rest of the piles. Let's have a look at pile number 3. The Hierophant. So with regards to the way that you communicate, to me, I feel that it's proper. It's well thought out. It's considered. You express yourself clearly. You know how to adjust depending on who you're talking to. So I feel that you are very observant. I think people enjoy being in your company, are very attracted to you because they can trust you to be good in any particular environment. It's like the type of person that you can take home to your parents, or you could take out clubbing, or, it's like you could fit in anywhere because you know how to watch, how to adjust. You don't impress yourself on other people in that particular situation without understanding yourself first, if that makes sense. I don't know as yet, to be honest. Let me keep going. To me, this has got a feeling of mutability in it and earth. So it's like a Virgo type feeling. So let me go through it. So if I've got this impression in my head, which first house, you would be delivering yourself in a way that's quite quiet but doesn't lack confidence. The Two of Pentacles suggests that you adjust yourself to the situation, but maybe you don't, it's not because you feel that you're lower than anybody else or you don't fit in. It just is a case that you like things to be proper and you would adjust yourself to be able to communicate properly, relevant for that particular person or that particular event or that particular activity or that person. I'm sorry for that twice, but yeah. And the Knight of Pentacles here with regards to what I guess is the fourth house, to me makes me think that you are stable in yourself, but you want things to be measured. Let me change this. Let me just say, if it was like a fire sign that is, I'm going to say, I keep picking on Sagittarius, and it's because the energy is what it is. You know, it's very forthright, it's very straight up, it's very big energy. So to compare this to your energy will be somebody in a situation who is very secure who they are, and they present that energy because they don't change, because that's the truth of themselves in every scenario. Let's just say it's an extremist. I always do this, don't I? An extremist Sagittarius. Perhaps an immature Sagittarius. Let's go with that one. I have lots of Sagittarian friends, honestly. It would be going to your grandma's house with you, and your grandma's saying something really old-fashioned that makes no sense whatsoever, and your immature Sagittarius friend saying, that's complete bollocks. You would not like that. You would do the opposite. You know who you are. You're stable inside yourself. Possibly from what I guess is maybe a very secure background in some way, whether it was like a partner when you were young or your parents, and you watch scenarios and situations to be able to adjust isn't a word I want to use here, but it possibly could be slightly. In love affairs, is that the 3? Yeah, it is. Oh my gosh, okay, the 3 of Pentacles here. When it comes to playing in love, you've got the 3 of Pentacles. It's still earthy, and people forget that earthy people are lusty. We all forget that. We think, Virgos, the Virgin. But no, earthy people understand bodies. They understand themselves. They know their needs, and they know other people's needs, and there's no laughing and giggling about it as there is with Gemini. And this is like the 3 of Pentacles makes me think that when it comes to love affairs, you're a lot more easygoing than you initially give the impression of. Maybe a little bit more experimental with the 3 there. Leave that to imagination. I don't know this pile yet, to be honest. I'm not sure. I will keep coming back to it. I'm just discovering it. Stay with me. The 6 of Cups here. Possibly in everyday, you're somebody that cares for people. You're somebody that's there when people need help. Your routine, your everyday job may be one of looking after others in some form, and you do a really good job of it. A really good job of it. This is what it means. You don't ask for attention. You don't need attention from people. You don't really like lots of attention. And I think you give the impression of being, and I say humble in some way, or measured probably is a better word for it. There's a playfulness about you when you're with people that feel like your energy, and people enjoy seeing that come out. With the Queen of Cups here, I think that you're very much trusted. But people trust you, because with the Queen of Cups in the 6th house will be somebody that, it's sort of the earth type feeling, that because you've got the earthy feeling here, but it's connected to the heart, that you will always, you're the one that always, and I'm thinking of old-fashioned films here, and there's always the main character in the books, really, you know, a Jane Eyre type thing, very sort of earthy, but is very stoic with regards to giving. He's always like looks after the auntie or looks after the sister, or you know, somebody who's not quite healthy, mentally healthy in most of these books. And then the hero, whoever in the book falls in love with them, it's that has got this feeling in here. Anyway, oh my God, let me keep going. Again, with a 3 for the 7th house here. So there's something in a very inclusive attitude to relationships, which I'm just thinking Aquarius, Pluto in some ways, when it comes to one-to-one relationships, there's almost an element here of you're mine and I'm fixed and I want it to stay like this. But I feel that there's an openness in here. So there's an element of allowing, it's not jealous, it's allowing other people in and out of your house or in and out of your situation or going out in group situations. There's a feeling of you don't need to control anything, which is good. It's just very understated energy. It's really difficult for me to read. You've got the Page to begin with. You've got the 2 of Wands. These aren't like in-your-face cards. You've got the Knight of Pentacles in the 4th house, which suggests stability and moving forward with it. So people fall in love with you for the fact that you don't have to announce yourself. You come across, as I said, humble, but it's not having to make a stand in every scenario or situation. Being very easygoing. People can count on you. Yeah, okay, let me keep going. The High Priestess in the 8th house, to me, suggests there's an element about you that understands exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it. It's awareness. This is beautiful. I'm struggling with the beginning, but to have that card there and to have this steadiness and this sort of appearance of being very humble but very open to others in the 5th and the 7th house in astrology, which you could translate in like threesomes, but let's not go there today. But to have the High Priestess here in the 8th house of what I guess is your more inner values, in like a cult, it's just a cult house. It's like you know what you're doing. You're all together. It's like you've been here before. And you're being exactly who you've decided you want to be in this lifetime. You don't want to be centre. You just know that is just basically a lot of the time when people are that big and need to be seen that much, you know that it comes from a place of insecurity. To have that there, it's made me feel really funny, this one. You've got here what I guess is this Knight of Pentacles with this card here doesn't have to be a stable childhood, doesn't have to be a stable early relationship. To me, to have that card there, it's a stable karmic accruement. There's no such word as that. Basically, you've come from lifetimes of trying to gain this ease in yourself, and people can sense that, and it's going to come across as quite magnetic and magical at the same time. And to have this sort of sense of ease and openness in relationships, again, it's going back to this like High Priestess feeling that you feel that you don't have to control anybody. Oh my gosh, this is magical. Or you don't feel that you need to have that person, to possess that person. As you can see where this is now coming out, it's like you've worked on this for a long time. You don't have to show up and be seen, make everybody fall in love with you. You feel confident in who you are. And people can smell this on people. Kids can smell it. If you think back to adults that you've seen when you're about 2 or 3 and you knew they were lovely. And I was talking to my husband about this yesterday. There was a man who used to go and play at his house. We were talking about, his daughter was very steady. I used to go and play with her, and I was always the child that people wanted to go home early. Yeah. And I remember this dad who was in the Navy, and you could just tell he was lovely. He just used to sit there when you were being a revolting child, and he would just smile. He was Pisces. You could see there was nothing. He wasn't judging you. And I remember thinking in my revoltingness, oh my God, I think I love you. That's that feeling about you. People just know that you're all together and that you don't need to say anything. You don't need to act in certain ways to try and manipulate your environment or people around you to get your desires met. You're a very magical being. Right. Again, ninth house. Ninth house is that stretching your mind outwards, isn't it? It's that sort of, how can you push yourself out into the universe? And the Magician card there is like you manifested this situation. There's a great power about you that's very subtle. The Magician card is that you used your own mind. And I don't think, the more that I look at this, that this is, in this lifetime, I feel that you are what was the word I used earlier? Accruement. I don't know if these are real words, of dedication to transforming yourself in past lifetimes. And you have a very quiet, subtle power in this lifetime, which is incredibly magnetic. And the 10th card is the 8 of Cups. So let's just say the 8 of Cups at the top of your chart. This is the way that I think about it. And that's the ability to walk away from situations, to leave situations. You may have been through some difficulties in this lifetime to test this energy. So you may have divorced parents with the 8 of Cups there. You may have had a difficult, because this is more emotional, you may have, especially a dad who left home early, or a relationship that left you a little bit burnt, but it just almost like literally burnt in your qualities inside yourself, so that it cemented them in, I think, more so is probably a better way to put that. This is very, very, I was talking about Gandhi in one of the piles today, I can't remember which one it was, and his like passive resistance movement. And this is what this feels like. It feels like you're very wise, you understand situations, there's an element of toughness about you that nobody sees, but they will feel it if they push. And I think people fall in love with you because you have an inner confidence. You don't have a need to overly demonstrate who you are to everybody for approval. You've got a real sense of awareness for respect for other people in relationships, whether it's friends or whether it is love relationships, for people to come and go as they please. And I do know somebody like this. It's like, if you ask somebody to do something you really wanted to do, like, will you come on holiday with me to Tenerife? And you really want, perhaps it's a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you really want to go to this particular place, you really want them to come with you, and they go, well, I don't actually fancy it. It's like straight away you will be, oh, that's fine then. I don't want to take you if you don't want to go. Will be going through your head. Rather than some people, if they want something, they want to pull somebody with them anyway. That's me. A real sense of commitment to being your best self. So to summarise here, why people fall in love with you, because there aren't many people like you. There's just a sense of dignity in this, there's a sense of control, there's a sense of knowing who you are, knowing how to move the world to make it possibly the best for you to demonstrate in a very subtle way your, I'm going to say abilities in some way, your ability to act in a way that is unshakable and loving and kind and giving, and it's incredibly attractive to people who don't feel they've got themselves together, because even by just being with you in a group, they feel that they will grow. In love relationships, they will feel that you will be stable. It's like you'll be the good father or the good mother. The person that doesn't lie or do things that are underhand, that's very trustworthy, very, very dignified. And I think that you've got this strength through lifetimes of working on it. Difficult to explain. We all know something like this, don't we? That person that just says no and doesn't explain themselves. That person that is, for no particular reason, extremely kind. For somebody that they may not even know that well. And it is incredibly attractive. I have an example of this. I've seen somebody doing something recently. I don't know if it was, I can't remember what it was. And it's that, I wish I was that. I wish I could do that type of feeling. And that can be very attractive, especially in relationships, because people tend to get into connections because they want to be more of the other person, which is the whole charade of life, isn't it, really? Look, I know it's the other side of me. I know I really want it. Oh, you are me. It's that type of feeling. So you really have got it going on in there. And I feel that is lifetimes of hard work. So congratulations. You are probably one of the most magnetic people that most people know. And you don't even have to shout about it. Okay, thank you, pile number 2. Bye. Okay, pile number 3. Why do people fall in love with you? You've got a different start from the other 2 piles. You've got the 5 of Wands there, which initial impressions, you may be somebody who's not fearful, somebody who isn't afraid to speak out. So you may be somebody who leads the way, very often the first to speak in class when you were young, or to call something out that you think is unjust or unfair. As I said, there's no fear there. So you're going to possibly, initially this will change, attract people who like confidence, who like a debate, who like people to challenge them. So there may be a little bit of air in there with the Wands card there. You could also be very sociable. You could also be seen in groups and situations. So maybe again, the person who's attracted to you likes that. It likes to be out and about and sees that in you and thinks, okay, that's good. So that's what I've got initially. Okay, for the second pile, the second pile is like the second house to me. So it's going to be a feeling of your values, your sense of self. The 5 of Cups suggests there's a vulnerability about you in some way. Maybe there's a look in your eye, or perhaps people know that you've been through difficult circumstances, maybe like a divorce or split parents or just lost a job. So there's that feeling here. And to be honest, that's quite a personal feeling. It's almost like you're asking about somebody or watching this pile to know what somebody a particular person thinks about you. Don't really know here. Hold on. Yeah, I think you are. To me, what I will say here, without trying to go into too much detail, is to have the Queen of Cups here, but to have a fiery exterior. People know that you're soft underneath, but you've got that ability, like a Mars on the moon or a Mars ascendant, where you can be possibly quite outspoken, quite shirty, quite terse with the way that you say things. As I always say in these readings, it's often said that people from the north have this type of, the north of England have this sort of aura about them, a little bit harsher. And they call it like the south, where I live, but not where I'm from. They're a lot softer. They're called the southern softies. I don't call them this. But there may be an element of people, or a particular person, especially with these 2 cards together, sense that there's a vulnerability. I'm going to say what I said at the beginning, of vulnerability about you. Maybe a little bit of water in your eyes, maybe a little blush occasionally when somebody gives you a little bit back when you've said something out of time or to the wrong person, that you're not as tough as you may initially appear. Just thoughts there, I don't know. I'll bring it all together at the end. You've got the 10 of Wands, communication. Your communication is, I'm going to go into a bit of detail here because I don't know if it's right or not, but communication could be narky. you could have strong Uranus or Mars in there, and oftentimes jump the gun. That sort of like Tourette's feeling when things come out when you haven't really decided they're ready to come out, they just come out anyway. Or you may find communication difficult, and you may actually just end up saying things that you didn't really mean. There's something in here which is intriguing me. Why people fall in love with you at the moment has got an element of what they would interpret as almost innocence trying to socialize itself. I can't say it. I don't know how to say this. It's like they may even find it funny in some way. You may come out with the wrong words at the wrong time. You may say things that are on your mind without holding it back. But that's be more like a nervousness type feeling. And then you may actually almost go into, they can see that on your face initially, possibly. Straight away you regret it. Or you think, oh my God, where did that come from? I'll give you an example here. I haven't said this for years though. My sisters have a joke. It's got no punchline. It's called Lindsay on a Date. That's it. This is how they think that I act on dates. I can't tell you because I don't think I've ever had one. But there is, it's probably nerves maybe, or a bit uncomfortable, or mind working very fast, but sociability is not up to par. Something like that in there. Let me keep going. Let me get away from that one. And the fourth house star, Aquarius. You very much could have strong Aquarius in there. You may come across as different, as unique, as quite individual, as not needing to be around people all the time. You know, this suggests they see you with people, and there may be some inability in you to actually settle and relax in close contact with somebody. And possibly, if this reading is why do people find you so attractive, people find that, I'm going to say cute, and people do find that attractive. I can tell myself. People do. Scorpionic. My Scorpio friends tell me that nervousness is attractive to them, and I wonder if it's because they think they got power over you, is what my thoughts are. But there are people, they can see you're awake, they can see you're alive, they can see you care, they can see when people are nervous in front of other people, or they feel awkward after they've been with people, because this is communication. That's like carrying a heavy load, and you've got this feeling of saying things abruptly at the beginning. You don't say things to hurt people. You say things because there's a lot, the star card, huge amount of energy going through you, and to try and maintain that and make it smooth is a tough task and a tough ask. And people, I guess, the way that you come across would rather have that coming through you than somebody who is not awake. So there's something alive about you but slightly awkward, which I think is why people fall in love with you. I know people like this. I know a lot of men like this. I know a lot of women like this, to be honest, as well. It's like you may almost pull yourself away from situations or be very shy. It's got an introverted quality about it, that when you go out, it takes you a while to settle down, or you just choose to be with friends you feel familiar with. It's that everybody wants to be with you. Everybody wants, whatever your name is, Gerald, Bethany, I don't know. They want you to be in that group. But sometimes you just don't turn up because you don't feel as in you're in the sort of sociable mindset to do it. Does that make sense? A heavy Aquarius, possibly. The fifth house has got Three of Swords. Why heartache in the fifth house? Why would that be attractive? Because you're positive. You've been through the rough and tumbles of life, and to me, you've got what I guess is strong energy inside you that is difficult to control in social situations, in love relationships, in small conversations, the polite conversations, like you haven't got time for that. And I feel that you are too busy wondering how to do the next big thing, possibly with these cards here. That is like moving forward after upset, and this is like communicating and thinking, oh my God, I'm not particularly good at that, but keep moving. There's a positivity about you that rumbles over the tough bits in life. Everybody's got tough bits in life. just come in different packages at different times in our lives, and it's how we react to them, I suppose, which I guess is why people find you attractive. They think, you keep going, you keep moving. Whatever happens, whether you do blurt out something really awkward while talking in a work do, on stage, you swear or something, or whether you do confess undying love to that person you're trying to have a secret crush on in the first sentence of meeting them. There's a feeling here that you don't like it, but that you just keep going anyway. So you've got a lot of energy. You don't lack in momentum in life, and people can sense that. It's like you've got a spark about you. There's something exciting. There is something here that's different. There's a feeling here that, let me put that on, I'm not sure which way that goes round. Let me see the rest of them. Let me put a card on it. Yeah, again, it must be that way around. Because you've got the Three of Swords here with the Wheel of Fortune, and that is a case of like, how do you relate in love? It's like you've been through some tough situations, but you're expecting everything to turn out okay. You just keep moving with it. You've got here the Hangman, who isn't watching, he's actually doing. He's got his feet on the, he's supposed to have his feet on the ground this time. And in that is your confidence. You've learned how to turn your observations and your insights, how you see people, how you're let down in life. And now you've got, to me, it feels like a confidence to be able to move forward with it and just accept things as they are. This is the pile of, it's tough. You're tough on yourself. And I think that your life is better for it. It doesn't mean that you break yourself in any way, but that when things don't go your way, like, let's keep moving. And I think people sense that from you. It's like a steadfast fairness with yourself and with others. Trustworthy. And you may have difficulty communicating at times or expressing yourself at times, but I think people can sense and smell a really good person underneath, a genuine person, and there's something very different about you. Three of Cups again. We had this in the second pile. The Three of Cups in the 7th house has, you automatically want to say long-term three-party relationships, which could be so, but to me, with what we've got here already, it's an ability to not having to hold in long-term relationships. It's allow other people within the situations, and it could be a three-party situation, but it could also be that ability to not be possessive, which would be very much the Star card there, or to not to want to control a long-term partner, a friendship more so. And that is going to show or allow people the way that you relate to people, and they will see that energy in you. People are like dogs, aren't we? We sense it. It's an ease to let people be. To see them as, that's a beautiful card to have. If in a long-term relationship, you nurture the other person to be the best person they can too. It's like a down-to-earth friendship. I don't know what I mean by that. Okay, 8th house, 6 of Pentacles. Why have you got cone on your head? Again, the 6th house can be like an occult type of feeling to me. It can be other people's money, it can be taxes, it can be life and birth and death and all that type of thing. But to me, to have the 6 of Pentacles there, to me, you've worked on who you are. And as I said, and this was very much like the second pile here, people would pick that up as an inner confidence with an outward awkwardness. You're on a path. To me, I would think that people would see, you may actually do something in particular. People will sense that you work on yourself, whether it is like meditation or yoga or astrology. To have the Page of Pentacles there and the 6 of Pentacles there, it's like you push out a bit of the things that you've learned, how you want to be, how you want to act from deep inside yourself, from your 8th house to your 9th house of actually pushing out with learning things. So people may see you as being inquisitive or curious about how to improve yourself. which is probably all those things we've just discussed there, like yoga or meditation or astrology. And on a journey. Okay, right, okay, I've got it. This is what I've got with regards to why people fall in love with you. And try not to make this sound insulting, but the first sentence will sound insulting. You're one of life's triers who already has it. So the second, if that makes sense, you don't know your own power, the effect that you have on people, how strong your energy is and how you come across. And I think you subconsciously, I don't know if you're aware of it whatsoever, you have to back that energy down when you come into social situations, because it is quite strong, quite intense. And people sense that you're coming from a good place, that you allow people the freedom that you search for in life. There's no need to control anybody else. There's no need to possess or to want to bring people down or to make you feel better. You're just very much always thinking that you can do better. And this is quite an earnest power, which is a word I have used already today because I love it. It is quite an earnest pile here, and I think that you're so busy trying to improve yourself that you're not really looking out to trip anybody else up. So people are going to sense that you are actually, there is a feeling in here that you may get attacked by shitty people. We're all shitty at times, aren't we? But people who don't have this feeling here, that want to have power over other people. They may see your earnestness as lack of confidence. And I think here that they will get a bit of a wake-up call. I think this will come out in full flurry. I think that you will feel shame afterwards for it. That's what that possibly says, but you shouldn't. The reason I feel you feel shame is possibly because you're on a path here of trying to improve yourself. You don't like yourself or what came out of your mouth. But I do think at times, and I will stick with this, and I've taken a long time to get to this conclusion, and I've gone backwards and forwards. I'm going to try and stick with it. I feel that if somebody bullies you and you're still trying to do the right thing, it's okay to give it back. As long as you are doing it from a place where you are elucidating yourself, making yourself clear of who you are or how you need to be treated, if that makes sense. So people fall in love with you because you've got strong energy that automatically, with a sense of innocence that pulls people towards that you've no idea about. There is a feeling in here that you sometimes find it difficult to express yourself, but people will sense that you have an optimism, an ability to play with life, to keep going, and a strength that is more beautiful because you don't know it, because you don't acknowledge it, you just keep doing it. It's like Aquarius Mars, Aquarius fire in here. People can see that you're trying to improve yourself, and anybody with a good soul is going to give you an extra push and want to be with you, because that is what it's awareness in here. You've got a real sense of awareness of life, but not of how beautiful you are. And I'm not saying there's underconfidence with regards to looks here, but there could be. But you've no idea of the amount of energy that you have available to you. You are the person that when people invite you out doesn't turn up. It's almost like something small gets in the way, like you put something on, you don't feel good in it, or you don't think people there want to talk to you, or somebody else is inviting you, you perhaps think you won't fit in, and everybody else is waiting for you. Where are they? We really wanted this person to come. This is what this feels like. People fall in love with you because you've no idea of why everybody wants to be with you. And the Six of Swords in the 10th house, which is the top of the house, the top of the chart in astrology, is you've gone through a process of healing yourself, and you're still going through this. But in that is your beauty. It's like you're very humane, very human, both. You don't lie about who you are or who you think you are. You don't put a face on. You're just very, very genuine. Very genuine. I know, before I go, I know quite a few people like this. I know a woman who I used to live by, and she was incredibly magnetic. She wasn't altogether, not like this pile in many ways, but I saw her at a party once, and she was wearing all white, so she looked like Jesus. She was heavily pregnant. She looked like Jesus, wearing all white, big, she was like 8 months gone, so big stomach. So she was sat down in a chair, and everybody just sat around her and wanted to be with her. And I remember feeling the same feeling from her when I met her. I just wanted to go and sit with her and to talk to her. And it was a strong pull, and I couldn't really explain it. In my mind, she reminded me of my mum. But who knows? Maybe everybody in their mind reminded of somebody that they felt connected to. So this is how you feel like. And if she didn't turn up, people are like, where is she? It's the same feeling. But oftentimes she would hide herself. If you spoke to her, she'd be like, oh my God, I can't do it. I can't go to this meeting. I can't do this. I just feel awkward. And this has got this feeling to it. People want to be with you. You just got that. You must sense this already. That really, it's like enticing energy that people just like spring up beside you and want to talk to you, and you think, oh my gosh, here they are again. But you never think it's you just think it's just the situation. Or you think it may be a bit sort of, it will just pass and they'll get over it, that type of thing. Very, very magnetic in a way that you still know that you are on a path and still learning. Let me just put another card over this one here. Yeah, it's the same card. It's like you still feel there's too much to know. Last thing, I'm going to go pretty seriously. People who have incredible confidence, I'm always thinking, well, how could you be that confident? But it's just so much we don't know. And tarot readings at the beginning, I always just think, oh my gosh, here I am mumbling in the corner. I don't know. None of us know, and we're just lying everything. We sense things, we go over things, we have situations, they build up a sense of confidence in what we're delivering, but we never really totally know. And I think, especially YouTube can bring on that ability. I know this is what you should do now. And it's not, it's just discovery, it's curiosity. And I think that's what's in you that is probably very, very magnetic to others. It's that life's a journey. Life's a journey, regardless if you do shit bits in it. Always trying to learn more, always open, always curious. I'm going to leave it there. I feel like I've said it. People fall in love with you because they can sense your journey. They can see it in themselves. They can see that you're doing a really good job and that you're really serious about it. And there's just something very, very natural about you. I'm going to go pile number 3. Thank you very much for joining me. Bye.